And we're good. Tim, how are you?
Good, good. Glad to be here.
Good. Lovely to have you on. Thank you so much
Hey,
for
man.
taking the
Thank
time
you.
out.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how has what? Well, let's just ask what you've been up to. What's the year been like?
Well, yeah, the year is, well, I guess we're halfway through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been focusing a lot on sharing my knowledge,
Yeah.
sharing my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing drums since I was 6 years old. I
Okay.
started professionally when I was about 19.
Sure.
Um, started professionally when I was 19, and um, for the last 41 years
Mm-hmm.
have been making a living at playing music and
And
drums.
what kind of artists, shows, gigs, tours have you done?
So during that time, it started with local shows,
Mm-hmm.
um, small club shows in bars,
Yeah.
things like that. You know, when you're starting out, you're playing small places, getting
Yeah.
people playing locally. Started in Arizona with a band called Major Lingo,
Okay.
and we played throughout the state every weekend. And back then, I was, making like $1,200 on a weekend. So
Okay.
it was
Wow.
it was awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
I was making decent cash, and
Yeah.
then when I got to California, ended up joining the band Primus,
Yeah.
and similar situation where we started. Well, at the time when I joined, the band had fell apart. There was only one guy left.
Right.
Two of the other guys had quit,
Okay.
and so I had joined, and that's where the guitarist and then the remaining member of Primus was. We were putting kind of restarting
Mm.
from scratch
Yeah.
and with some existing music
Okay.
that was there already, and so we played locally, um and we're doing pretty very well locally, selling out all the venues here in town
Yeah.
where a band at our size could play, which was like close to 1,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, smaller clubs to thousands. And then we started making records, and we started touring, and that's how the world got to know Primus,
Yeah.
is
That's
through
cool.
that. And there were three other drummers that I know of before me,
Right.
before the band was ever really known outside of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
There were three guys before me, and then I recorded from 89 to 96, and
Okay.
those are the albums, that were gold and platinum,
Yeah.
and some Grammy nominations too for those.
That's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I came across your Instagram, a few of
Okay.
your few of your reels, and I was looking at
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, this guy sounds like he's. I should get this guy on because he's talking good stuff.
So have
And
you
then,
never heard of me
and
before?
then I was chatting to a friend of mine who also runs a podcast, it's a drummers podcast,
Oh.
and he said, "So who have you got coming up?" I said, "Oh, I got a guy called Tim Alexander." And he went, "Not the Tim Alexander." I said, "Oh, you've heard of him?" He said, "Yeah, he was in like fucking Primus, and he's done stuff with
Yeah.
Perfect Circle." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You shitting me?" I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I got you on because I just love listen to your or watching your reels." And I was like, "There, man, this guy's got some good insights, some good knowledge. I should have him on." And
Right on.
so,
Thank you.
I mean, I want to talk to you about Perfect Circle because I fucking love that band.
Really?
What was your involvement with them?
Well, so that started, gosh, I'm not sure exactly what year it was. I don't know,
Hmm.
97ish, 98ish, maybe, something like that.
Oh wow, so that was
I'm I'm
before
really
multiple.
guessing.
Yeah, okay.
When did the record come out?
The first one, Mare de Norm, I think that came
Yeah.
around 2000.
Okay, so yeah, it was like a year or two before that,
Right. Okay.
because it took them a while to finally finish the record.
Yeah.
So what happened was, I got a call from Maynard,
Mm.
and he said that they were starting this project, and I wanted to know if I wanted to do it.
Cool.
And I said sure.
As you
So
do.
I would. Well, I wasn't sure what it was going to be,
Yeah.
and then I heard some demos, and it
Mm.
was pretty cool. A little heavy. You notice the first record is heavier than
Mm.
as their albums moved on, but yeah, the first album was a little heavier. I liked it. It was a lot of 6/8 time,
Yeah.
and I'm really a fan of that. I love playing that. One of my favorite drummers is Mark Brzezicki,
Okay.
um, who from Big Country,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they did a lot of those 3, 4, 6/8 times,
Yeah.
and but so I thought, yeah, let's check it out and do it, and I went down to L.A. Maynard and Billy were living together in this house in North Hollywood, and
Mm-hmm.
I went down and I was sleeping on a small little air mattress under their like in their kitchen under their kitchen table,
Okay.
and yeah, and so we had rehearsal and we kind of jammed through some of the tunes, and the vibe was really cool.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was like uh, Danny Lohner was on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh God, I'm trying to remember. I think Pause was there on bass.
Yeah.
I was on drums. Billy was on guitar. Maynard was there. Um, I feel like there was one other, maybe Troy.
Yeah.
I think he might have was he there on that first sessions? I think. Yeah, he was. He was in it
I
as
think he
well
played
from
on
the
the album.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after we had kind of got the tunes together, there was still no recordings yet.
Mm.
So we went and toured, and we did a West Coast tour
Okay.
for like 2 weeks. And it was Troy's band um, was opening up, and it was him, his wife, and they had a bass player. Um, Man, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of that band that they had.
Okay. That's all right.
But then Laundry was my band that I had currently running at the time
Yeah.
with my friends. So and then we would play second,
Mm-hmm.
and then third would be um, a perfect circle.
Yeah.
And so me and Troy were doing double duty, playing, opening up in our bands first, and then we'd do the
Mm.
show afterwards.
Yeah.
And then, so we did a West Coast tour playing all these tunes.
Mm.
And so that was kind of where it was at. But then there was this big kind of nothing going on for a while. Billy was working with Guns N' Roses.
Right.
And then that's where he started recording the album with Josh on drums, because
Right.
Josh Freese was playing in Guns N' Roses at the time.
Okay.
So they were working together every night, and there wasn't a lot of work going on for Guns N' Roses. So Billy was just using that time and making a Perfect Circle record.
Right.
And that's how that record got made. I happened to be in town doing a laundry show, and so Josh played drums on the record
Yeah.
because they were working together, and I'm on the first song, The Hollow, and
All
I
right.
did, yeah, that's me on drums. And I happened to be in LA at the time, and Billy said, "Why don't you come up into this house up in the Hollywood Hills? We're recording, and you could do The Hollow."
Cool.
And I was like, "Okay." So I went and did it that day. I believe it was before my gig
Mm.
at the Viper Room in
Okay.
LA. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how I got on. That's how it happened. I played on that record, and then I saw. I was told by a family member they saw on MTV that a Perfect Circle band, and it was all the people but me.
Yeah.
And so that was the first I heard about it.
And how was that?
So, very weird.
Yeah, I bet.
Very weird. Because I had known Billy for a really long time. I know Maynard for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, not a really long time, but Billy I knew for a long time. But
Mm.
I first met Billy when he was a guitar tech for Fishbone. And this is in
Wow.
the
Okay.
late 80s,
Okay.
early 90s. Yeah, so he
Wow.
had been doing that a long time. And so I'd known him since then. Um, Casually, but Maynard I met in '93 on Lollapalooza,
Yeah.
and then this is happening 5-6 years later. So I know him about 5-6 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just kind of casually found out that I wasn't in that anymore. So um, yeah, it wasn't, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just kind of a weird way to let me know.
Yeah. You could have sent me a message or something.
Yeah.
Well,
But
anyway, I mean,
and that's how that happened. And yeah, so that's how I ended up on the first record. And then I ended up on I don't think I played on anything else
okay.
on the second record. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
So,
I
but
mean,
then
that, the,
I've done the Pussifer stuff as well with
right. Yeah.
Maynard. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the opening to that track, The Hollow,
Yep.
which is that drum intro, is just such a great way to start an
That's
album.
me.
That's you.
Yeah. Yeah, why let me ask you, why
Hmm?
is that a great way to start the record?
Oh, I don't. I don't. I've never thought about it.
Yeah, what is it about it that just like
I mean, the drums are massive. There's a massive drum sound to it, and I think you don't typically start rock albums with drums. You're
interesting.
usually like if you listen to AC/DC or something like that, you've got
Mhm.
generally guitars starting, the riff comes in, then the groove will come in, or the
Right.
groove and the drums will start together. Um, so I was just thinking of some of my favorite
What was the
openings.
feeling you get when you hear that?
It's just bang, here we are, we've arrived.
Interesting.
Like there's no like if I think of all my favorite intros, like "Welcome to the Jungle" was guitar, "Once" by
Mhm.
Pearl Jam it's guitar, "Teen
Mhm.
Spirit" guitar, "Enter Sandman" guitar.
Hmm.
I can't think of any other drum
Yeah.
intros.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it's just it's very impactful.
Yeah.
I guess even like "Faith No More," the track "Collision."
Hmm.
You could argue that starts with drums. Oh no, it's a pickup
Huh.
with the vocal, isn't it?
I don't know.
Um,
Well, I'm asking because that's kind of what um not kind of. I'm asking because this is what I am teaching drummers right now
yeah.
is the purpose behind what they do.
Mm,
So when you hear that, you felt this like bam, here it is, right?
yeah.
And when I'm doing that or when I did that, that intro is like this. It's a real quick creating tension and then releasing.
Mm.
And it create I create intention. Sorry, oh my gosh.
Again.
Ah, I create the tension with the snare drum and that high pitch, the bra bra dun, that bra is like
Yeah, yeah.
it kind of creates this feeling of something's coming,
Mm,
and that's which is interesting because that's what you said in the beginning. Like here it is, like something's about to happen,
yeah,
and that's that's the meaning I put behind it by doing that pattern right there.
yeah,
That's creating this tension and then do 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 do. So I complete like a melody on the
yeah,
toms like you would on a guitar. Da
yeah,
da da da.
yeah, yeah.
That's how I hear that. I hear it as a what do you call it? Like a descending. I
Mm,
start high and then come low. So I'm creating this big tension and then releasing into the song.
yeah.
So this is the stuff that I'm doing now
Yeah.
with my Stick Academy. It's called
Okay.
stickacademy.com. And
Okay.
that's where I'm actually doing really deep dive into song composition, this exact thing.
Yeah.
I have a live 4-day thing coming up in a couple weeks.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm, trying to let people know about it right now.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll make sure this goes out before that goes out.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah. Okay. So
Quickly. Thank you.
because one of the things that grabbed me about some of your videos or some of your reels that I saw was just
Uh-huh.
what you were talking about, like treating the drums like a an instrument, in more like you would think of a guitar or a piano, rather than just
Yes,
being a rhythm machine. So
exactly.
what kind of brought that way of thinking about?
Well, I discovered that over my 41 years of playing professionally. When I first started, the music I was playing was, hold on, I feel like is my microphone cracking at all?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not
It's
getting
like
anything.
it's hitting, I'm seeing red. 41 years ago when I started, I was basically copying my heroes.
Yeah,
But then I ended up in a band that was not like the music my heroes played.
yeah,
So this band was eclectic, kind of world beat, a mixture of
mm,
folk, a mixture of rock. So basically, it was there to create this vibe of movement, of
mm,
dance, and so I got turned on to I got turned on to global music basically. Then what I started doing, I started adapting those kind of rhythmic approaches
yeah,
onto a modern drum set, and I would do a lot of tom rhythms and
yeah,
still keeping a groove while doing that, and mixing east and west. So that was kind of the feel
yeah,
for me behind the drums, and that's using the drums for um, to create this movement for people, so the people listening can dance or move. Or there was
hmm,
a lot of people that were swirling, so
yeah,
creating
yeah,
this rhythms that just kind of give you this, and the melodies and the music. So just giving this kind of movement. And so I learned a lot about the effect drumming has on people and their list when they're listening, and what they're
mm,
hearing and how it makes them feel. And so that's where it stems from.
okay,
And then moving into my more rock, like Primus world, a perfect
yeah,
circle world, the elements became a little refined and placed
yeah,
placed kind of intentionally, not just doing this kind of, I'm going to do these tribal rhythms all the time for people because they can move. It couldn't do that in like the hollow.
yeah,
But the ideas of the things I developed over the years was how to create feeling, and I wasn't really, I knew I was doing something, but I wasn't really clear. And over the last couple years, I've really kind of started clarifying that a
yeah,
lot. And but that's where it comes from.
okay,
But just from a long time of playing live for
mm,
people and seeing reactions and making people dance, or making people, move their body and their head, or
mm,
whatever it is. If it's just space, how to create space, how to make rhythms maybe not move you, be able
mm,
to still play, but yet not create a lot of motion or a lot of movement.
okay,
So yeah, really significant things behind the drums that drummers don't even know they're doing it.
yeah, yeah.
They
I mean,
think, I'm playing a beat, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're playing a beat, and it feels good for a little while, but it's is And this is the other thing I'm talking about too, which is finding your voice. Like,
Mm.
how do you keep this groove and yet it's your feeling, it's your coming from you.
Yeah.
I'm working with people to get them connected to their emotional part
Mm.
of their selves, and how they choose rhythm, they choose drums.
Mm.
You choose guitar.
Yeah.
When other drummer or when other people choose the drums to express themselves, there are ways to do it. That's more than just playing a beat that makes your head bob. You know.
Yeah. So how do you get people from that space? Like, I'm just a drummer playing a groove. To okay, now essentially you're a musician or you're a composer on the drums. What's the journey that you take them through?
Um, yeah, the journey is understanding um, what a drum set, at least this kind of drum set,
Mm.
what the sounds can do and how you can play them. And of course, it's the basics, learning learning your basics so that you can kind of let those happen automatically, and then you can just start thinking about how to make it feel, not thinking about, oh, I'm doing this pattern. you
Yeah.
know
Okay.
it's just like learning your guitar or anything. It's practice,
Mm.
but it's also the intention behind what you're doing. And sometimes I think, and I've done it too, maybe you have too, when you're practicing, that it feels like you're just doing patterns that may, okay, well, I'll get better at this pattern,
Mm.
and you don't put a lot of meaning behind it, like thought,
Yeah.
or how would this actually come into play.
Mm.
And it's really cool to see on social media, the drummers doing these amazing things technically. um and there's another side to it, which is, how does it, I mean, a lot of these too are clips, 10 seconds,
Yeah.
15 seconds. Like, how do you do something for 5 minutes that's going to keep someone engaged, and keep them feeling that you're creating in your music?
Mm.
So that's somewhat of the journey.
Yeah. Okay. And so, how did you? What first brought you to playing drums?
Oh, what first brought me? It's just always been something that I've just naturally been drawn to. When I was very, very young, I used to come home from school, say, I want to say fifth grade.
Yeah.
Um, no, younger than that. I think it was even younger than that. Maybe fourth grade, fifth grade. Um, in our house, we had this, and do you remember the 8-track players?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you put this big cassette in and it
Yeah.
plays. And so it was Elvis live at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And so I used to come, and I had a pair of drumsticks, and I would just sit on the couch and I would play along to that concert on the pillows and on the couch.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
set, higher sounding pillows so they sounded like higher drums, and then I'd
Yeah. Yeah.
find deeper sounding pillows, and then I'd make those the lower sounds.
Yeah.
And I would pretend to play the concert, and I would pretend to be Elvis too.
Nice.
So I've been doing this as a kid,
Yeah.
and and this is the thing too. I didn't realize up until recently was what Ronnie Tutt, the drummer for Elvis for a long, long time, and on that show particularly, he was doing this exact thing. Him and Elvis, he would drive Elvis, and Elvis would respond with all that body motion that he would do on stage,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
kung fu
Yeah. Yeah.
moves and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ronnie, the drums, was creating this movement. He was
Okay.
doing these massive rhythms. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but
I
um,
haven't, but I will.
it's it's old 70s Elvis music, but
Yeah.
the drums are incredible.
Mm.
Ronnie, he had like a 13-piece kit, double bass, all concert toms, meaning they
Yeah.
only have one head.
Yeah.
The bottom shells were open, and he just did thunderous rhythms, and that's what
Mm.
Elvis responded with. So he was driving, like you've seen in some of my posts,
Mm.
he was driving the show. He was driving Elvis's movements,
Yeah.
and he would react with him. I got to see him live twice before he
Wow.
died, before Elvis died. I was a
Wow.
young kid, but I saw it twice, and the drumming was thunderous. And I think that's where I first was being kind of fed this idea that rhythms make people move,
Yeah.
because Elvis was moving to those rhythms. He wasn't just dancing to a beat.
Yeah.
There were like serious tribal rhythms going on, and Elvis was just putting on the show, and
Yeah.
making all the girls scream.
Yeah, that's his job.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got to ask you something. So I have a few students, and one of the thing that really trips people up with playing guitar is just playing in time.
Oh
You
yeah.
could you could teach them all the chord shapes, you could teach them all the voicings, all the scales, but if they can't keep just a steady groove or steady time,
Right.
they can't play. So I have a couple of students who just struggle. They just struggle just to strum simple quarter notes and tap their foot at the same time. Any advice?
Yeah, have them count the time they're not playing.
Okay.
This is what
All
I
right.
I try to tell, because I've noticed some people who have a timing issue. They're only conscious of trying to make the hit. They're not
Yeah.
conscious of what's going on in between the notes. That's the space.
Yeah.
That space has time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we use it in music as a 1 and 2 and 3
Yeah.
and 4. And so I would say get them to count the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and
Okay.
have their body move in that time.
Yeah. I can't get them to I can't get them to do it. So
Just
they'll
their head or whatever, just a
yeah.
1 and 2, and get them to do it without the guitar. Just count.
Yeah.
You do a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and done. Let them hear the space.
Okay.
We have to assign that space a measurement.
Mm.
So we're measuring that empty space with eighth notes, or you
Yeah.
could measure the space in 16th notes. A 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, and that'll help them start understanding when you're not playing, there's still time going on.
Yeah.
And those subdivisions of time exist,
Yeah.
from a quarter note to eighth note to 16th to 30 seconds. They all
Yeah. Yeah.
exist. And if you're going to play one of them, you got to know where it is. So in their mind, they should be running, just instantly could be able to access the 16th note if they're going on 1 and 2E and a 3 and 4E and so I would
Yeah.
get them to think about the time in between, have them
Okay.
practice going in and out of those times. Just quarter
All right.
note, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, 16th note, quarter note,
Hmm.
16th note,
I'll
try to
give
get
it a
them to
go.
feel that in between.
Yeah, I mean, I've not thought of that. I've always got them to try and concentrate just on that downbeat. Just get your foot to tap at the same time your hands coming down. Count out
Yeah,
loud.
but look
One,
what's happening with your
two.
hand.
Yeah,
Every time you strum down, it goes up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And
that
I do say
accounts
that
for the
when
time. Yeah, yeah.
so when I introduce the upstrokes, I'm saying, look, we're already strumming the downstrokes. To do another downstroke after you've done one, your hand has to come up. So
Right.
let it hit the strings. Then you got the one and.
Yeah.
It's just difficult. Like I've never had an issue with rhythm. Like I from the
Right.
age of 2, I had this thing where it must have been like a comforting thing. I used to bang my head on the pillow
Oh yeah, yeah.
as I'm going to sleep. I'd put the radio on and I'd bang my head along to the pillow. It was
You're a
soothing.
headbanger.
I was a headbanger from the age of 2, and I did it
Yeah.
for about a decade. And I would just sit
Nice.
there, That's how I would send myself to sleep. And so
Right.
when I picked up a guitar, like rhythm was just there. It wasn't a
Right.
problem. I just had to figure out this hand. Um,
Right.
so I don't know if that was like a decade of rhythm training, subconscious rhythm training
It probably was.
that isn't being, taken up by other kids.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I mean,
That's
I'll
possible.
certainly give that a
But
shot
I
because
think I think I think that would be great. And getting their bodies, not just their hand, but getting their head to move, their
mm,
body to move forward and backwards in time. One
yeah,
and to get used to that, like you said, the upstroke. Get used to
yeah,
the and all that space they're not playing,
yeah.
and put it in the rhythm.
All right. Yeah, I'll give it a
I would
shot,
think that, yeah,
and I'll drop you a message
that's
to see
what
how
I
they
do,
let you
and
know.
it
Yeah,
helps. It helps
yeah.
people.
All
Yeah.
right, okay. And what about practicing these days? Do you still practice?
Um, I don't do a lot of practicing. I
Hmm.
have so I started this club called the Battery Club,
Okay.
and it's a community, and we get together once a week on Wednesdays, 6
Yeah.
p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
And which reminds me, just for your UK listeners, for
Mm.
my intensive coming up, um, I my wife has, so she's the brilliant business mind behind all this. She's the one that's
Okay.
kind of, I'm more of the creative, but she's
Yeah.
kind of putting all these really great things to help drummers. She's
Yeah.
really behind it all.
Okay.
So she's she's created some time slots for UK people to, if they want to come and do this with me,
Yeah.
I'll do it on your time. So it'll be like
Right.
after work, like a 6:30, I think, p.m.
Yeah.
your time,
Yeah.
which will be like, I don't know, 1 in the morning for me. But
What time is it there now?
it's almost 1 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you were looking at 11 a.m. about 6 p.m. because it's just what, nearly
Oh,
9 here.
okay.
So yes, that's not
9
that
p.m.
horrendous.
Oh no, it's not.
That's
I thought it was
manageable.
crazier. She might have looked,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so we're gonna have a spot for UK Europe time zones if any
Okay. Oh,
drummers
that's
want to
cool.
come in and do this. Yeah.
That
I
sounds
just wanted to
amazing.
mention that. But I also have
Yeah.
the
No problem.
Battery Club, which happens
Yeah.
6 p.m. And that's a club for drummers. Um, I mean, even if you're interested in drum, basically it's like a 47 a month, and we meet on Wednesdays, and I go through and I do teaching
Yeah.
some concepts and talking about things and Q&As. It's a big group coaching session for people that
Is this face to face or is it online?
this is like this
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that way, I've got people in New Zealand. I've got
Nice.
East Coast, West Coast, Hawaii. So yeah, we've got drummers, and I've got drummers, all some well-known drummers that are
Hmm.
in the club, and
Yeah.
it's really just there's no pressure. It's just if you want to be on a
Yeah.
Wednesday, if you have time, and you want to be a part and share and help maybe drummers who are trying to come up. That's what this is for. Is for drummers who are coming up, and
Yeah.
or if you're just interested and want to improve your playing or get some of these concepts I'm talking about,
Yeah.
um, where you don't have to spend a bunch of money on private lessons.
Sure.
So these things I'm offering are really, I think, a really good deal for people right now. Um,
That's cool.
what was your question?
About
Sorry.
practicing.
Oh, the
Practicing.
practicing part. Yeah.
Mm.
So the practicing is, I don't do a lot of it because I'm doing the teaching. I'm thinking more of, or sharing of my
Mm.
ideas and concepts. So I don't sit and practice, and I had played so much
Mm.
that all when I sit down on the drums, my desire is just to kind of loosen up a little bit.
Mm.
And I haven't spent a lot of time trying to learn um, some new abilities.
Okay.
I've really worked on the basics and fundamentals, and
Hmm.
just only like 5 or 6 main things, and that's what I've built my career on. It
Okay.
was just those fundamentals and getting them really good and learning how
Hmm.
to apply them in some of these ideas that I've talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about getting better? What does that mean to you today?
Getting better. Well, I think from a, uh, right now, getting better at loving myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting better at knowing what's right for me and
Yeah.
knowing the people that I need in my life to help support that.
Yeah.
That's huge
Yeah.
because everything that goes on around in the world around you is going to either positively influence your um, creativeness or it's
Mm-hmm.
going to take you down
Yeah.
creatively.
Yeah.
And sorry, this freaking thing
That's
is going
okay.
off. Um, and that's where I'm at.
Mm.
And musically, getting better is just mm, really connecting to what you're trying to say,
Yeah.
and then you can find ways to say that. You can
Yeah.
find better ways to say it, or more efficient ways, or clearer ways that you can actually use your instrument to state what it is you're feeling or trying to say.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what
how?
better is for me. It's not
Yeah.
about, oh, I need to learn, faster paradiddles,
Mm.
because that might be a really great physical challenge or just for myself, but it
Yeah.
doesn't help in expressing what I want to do. Really, I think what I have in my tool belt is enough
Mm.
to express myself pretty well.
Okay. And
Yeah.
if people are struggling with that aspect of playing, what's
Which
I mean,
aspect?
well, the idea of trying to use your instrument as a way of either conveying a message or trying to relay information or emotions,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not an easy thing to. I mean, I think it's an everlasting quest.
It is.
So, I mean, what were some of the things that you did to try and tap into that inner voice that we try to please?
Well, it's understanding what your instrument does,
Mm,
what sounds does it make, and how do those sounds um, connect to what it is you might be trying to say or feel.
mm,
With melodic instruments, you have the melodies and scales that
mm.
you can instantly create a sad vibe, a happier vibe,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dark vibe, or a weird vibe.
Mm,
Drumming's very different. Like, it's only through rhythm. That's it.
yeah.
And so you do have note choices, small drums, bigger
Hmm.
drums. So um, I like to think of a drum set like an orchestra. You have
Right.
higher sounds, and
Yeah.
they create certain feelings, mid-range sounds, and then real deep, bigger
Mm,
sounds. And if combining those properly can help you create feelings
mm,
and moods. And maybe it's just starting there with just simple start with simple ideas and basic technique,
hmm.
and see what you can do with those to make them more meaningful.
Yeah.
um, that's one approach. you
Okay.
know
Yeah.
and this is the other thing too. It's art.
Mm,
Anything goes, really.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know I mean, and this is just my perspective on the music that I've played. There are so many genres of music now. Like, I don't um I'm sure I could apply my theories to almost any genre,
Hmm.
and I think it will work really well for drummers. But it's also about um, just finding what those you're finding your basic uh, things that you have at your ability,
Yeah.
and how can those have meaning.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's copying other people, and then you start understanding, like, oh wow, that feels good the way they did that. That I don't know
Mm,
what that feeling is, but man, I
yeah.
like it. and then you start doing it more and doing it more, and then it starts connecting other things. It starts connecting to, some other feelings, and you're like, oh, when you do that, it kind of creates this thing that leads into this
Mm.
other feeling. And so, like you might have in a melody, you'll have what is it called, like a pickup note in a
Yeah.
scale where it's not resolved yet,
Yeah.
that note right before the final
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you just understanding that effect, that's an example of it. Like, if you're doing a scale and you freeze right before it finally releases,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
understanding that, just doing that creates this suspension.
Mm.
And you could, people can start there with the basics
Yeah.
and start understanding those ideas, and
Okay.
and not necessarily spending your time trying to be super fast or super technical.
Mm.
You can do that, and those are great challenges, and there's a great uh, if that's how you express yourself, then that's more power to
Yeah.
um, I think technically I'm at probably I think I've reached my technical peak a while,
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
also because of the music I've played. I don't need much more. So
Mm.
anything I do improve of is purely for me,
Yeah.
just to maybe challenge me
Mm.
physically. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Well, I heard like I think one of the biggest benchmarks, certainly in guitar players, for getting better is how fast can you play.
yeah, man.
And there comes, and I heard a great, it wasn't as a quote. It was written in a guitar magazine years ago. And the tutor in this magazine said, "Look, you could spend your life trying to play as fast as you can, but there comes a point when the notes just start to blur into one, and the rhythm of each note. If you're playing 16th notes,
Yeah,
as the faster you get, actually the shorter the notes become,
right.
and you get to a certain point where the notes just doesn't sound like music. It just sounds,
Yeah,
I don't know, like a
exactly.
machine. It sounds like a machine gun,
Yeah,
or and
yeah. And
so
how much emotion is or how much, and I think that's where it comes to is, what are we trying to do on the instrument? If
mm,
if that's all you're trying to do is to just push your technical abilities, then that's great. I don't know if you'll be able to actually make a living at it or do it
yeah,
professionally, or if
it's very niche.
or if people are going to want to sit and listen to you do that. So if it's for
Yeah,
you, it's probably really good to have that clarity and
mm,
understanding that I'm not going to try to go play in front of 20,000 people just
yeah,
doing blistering machine gun stuff.
yeah,
Maybe you can. Uh, maybe you can. There's no rules. That's why I'm saying this is art. And it's like,
yeah,
you don't know what's possible. But
yeah,
having those ideas of what your intention is, I think, is what's behind it. What
mm,
are you trying to accomplish? And I would say, uh, kind of a really good example is just listen to like Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, it's
mm,
still in one of the best selling records
yeah,
every year. And there's a
mm,
reason. It's
yeah,
not super technical crazy. It's
yeah,
just skill and real feeling
hmm
and vibe and,
and
oh
and a
man,
little bit of drugs.
and a little bit of the drugs.
Yeah, I
But
think it was.
still, they probably, who knows, maybe they needed that to be able to access that emotional part
Yeah,
that ended up on the record.
yeah,
So
I think it.
I don't know. So it's
Yeah,
not just technicality, it's feel,
mm,
and it's about expression. And
yeah,
that's why a lot of people, I think, use drugs, is to turn off all this
yeah,
shit that's in their heads.
mm, yeah. I mean, when guitar players talk about feel, David Gilmour's name isn't far away. And when you
Yeah.
listen to the way he plays, and it's just
Hmm.
he's crafting songs within songs.
Yeah. And I'm not a serious guitar player. I don't.
Mm.
do solos, or I can play guitar and write my own songs.
Yeah.
Um, but and I go for strictly that emotional part.
Yeah.
And when I hear him, yeah, it's just there's just so much depth,
Yeah.
and it's not about speed and
Mm.
nothing. And it's a gift. Like he gives that kind of music that if you can relate to it, well, whoever's music it is, that's a gift for
Mm.
us to continue to have in our lives. And
Yeah.
look at what I would maybe students or anyone watching is look at it like, is this music like, or what you're doing on an instrument, something that maybe is this going to be a gift for people, or is this about
Mm.
you feeling
Yeah.
important, or are you
Yeah.
just trying to fill some emptiness? I mean, that's what I
Mm.
did when I was
Yeah.
younger. I didn't feel a lot of love when I was younger. So
Mm.
I thought, oh, I want to be on stage where people are just yelling my name and clapping for me and praising me.
Yeah.
And it happened. It
Yeah.
took 40 some years, or 50. I was thinking this
Mm.
long before I was actually doing it.
Yeah.
And that is a huge reason that people get motivated to play, is to get the love.
Mm.
So if I had known about loving myself, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened, but
Something else. Some other magic.
maybe my music would be way better, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, one of the one of the things that I think gets forgotten is the audience when we talk about music.
mm,
When musicians talk to musicians, they talk about either the songs that they're making, the songs that they're playing, the way that they're playing it, the scales, the feels, the rhythms. And I feel like the last person that we talk about is the audience. Whether you're doing bar gigs, cover gigs, or you're playing to 20, 30,000 people,
mhm.
it should always be about the audience.
Yeah, when I was, and you're right. Um, if that's your goal, is to
Mm.
play for people,
Yeah.
you should consider them for sure.
Mm.
And that's kind of a big problem in this industry. There's a lot of huge egos and a
Mm.
lot of narcissism. They only think about themselves. And the audience is there to just, you know,
Facilitate the ego.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I've seen it. And um yeah, it's the people are why you're there. The reason that
Mm.
a lot of these people are able to take care of their families is because people are out there coming to see you do your thing. And I think you should really appreciate that and be really
Mm.
grateful, because otherwise, you can end up the closet superstar that's just got
Yeah.
amazing talents, but just no one knows about, and no one gets to appreciate you, and no one gets to hear the music. And that
Hmm.
gift you could be giving to somebody is because you're
Yeah.
stuck in your head making it all about me,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
I did that when I was young. I didn't understand that. Um, and I don't think that was too much of a good thing, because you're not thinking about giving and
Mm.
sharing and making other people feel good. It's more about, getting people to buy your shit.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I had a good friend of mine, amazing sax player, who said
Hmm.
that I don't care where I play, so long as I'm playing to people who want to listen to music.
Yeah,
Whether
that's
whether
great.
it's again, whether it's small bar gigs, or 20,000 people.
Hmm.
If you're there to play to an appreciative audience, you
Hmm.
just all of a sudden you just get this feedback loop. The
Yeah.
band feeds into the crowd feeds it back, and
Oh yeah,
it,
it's an
it's an
amazing
amazing time.
feeling. Yeah, to have
Yeah.
people there to want to see you do
Mm.
what you are really good at,
Yeah.
It's a
It's
great
cool.
thing. A lot of people
It's
don't get
yeah.
to experience that.
No.
But even if you are there, they are giving you that gift. So you definitely have to be grateful for it
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it can be taken away very quickly.
Mm. Yeah. Do you think there's anything that's kind of missing in music today, particularly in music education? Things that people are missing out on?
I don't really know about that. I think there's just so much music now. There's so many platforms.
Yeah.
There's so much music, and I don't know if people are missing out on anything. I think there's a lot of there's just so much of it. I
Yeah.
can't even relate. It's yeah.
Okay.
I I,
Well,
I don't know how
I've no,
to
I've no,
accept the well. Let me think about it this way.
mm,
I think that maybe because there's so much that people have found an easy way to make music
mm,
without any of it being really intentional or having their voice in it or having their feelings in it. It's
yeah.
a lot of it can be just done on your laptop and you
Hmm.
don't really know how to craft songs or
Mm,
um, so I hear music that doesn't feel very soulful,
yeah.
um, for sure.
Mm,
So maybe that's what's missing is the element of making it feel really good.
mm, yeah. I
Possibly,
mean,
I don't know.
yeah. I know from a lot of my students that there's some students that I have that just don't listen to music.
Yeah, I've
And
been like that.
I'm like, why? Like, and this is not like, oh, I used to, but it's like, no, they don't listen to music. And I'm kind of asking, why are you having music lessons if you don't listen to music? And I've said this, I think I've said this on nearly every episode that I've done, is that music is so accessible, so easy to get hold of, and there's so
Hmm.
much of it. It's free, essentially, but no one's listening.
Yeah, and I think that free thing makes it
Mm.
worthless.
Hmm. I agree.
When you pay something, you're putting your appreciation and you're creating the value it has.
Mm.
So it's really easy to be saturated with music and you're just like next next next,
Mm.
I don't care, this is boring because there's just so much. But when you
Yeah.
had to go to a record store and you had to do your homework to find
Yeah.
out what's good, what's not,
I've only
what do
got,
you like, what you don't
yeah.
like, and then you go buy it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. So yeah, I think that could be a
There's
big part of
gravitas
it.
in that, in going out and buying something, coming back. I mean, I'm of the age where I was buying CDs, so I didn't have
Hmm. Yeah, me too.
records and vinyl.
Oh, I
So
had record vinyl. Yeah.
yeah, I missed all of that.
Oh,
So, but it was still the case that if I had 10, 15, £20, that's going to get me two albums. What am I going to get?
right,
And I've got to make them last. So
right.
I've got to make them both count.
You want
And
quality.
yeah, so
Yeah.
and then you could go and ask people behind the store. Look, this is what I like. Anything you'd recommend? Like, okay, great. You want to try this album? You want to have a listen to this? You got this album? You want to like? Have you seen the movie High Fidelity?
I did a long time ago.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the kind of the the Jack Black character who's kind of
Right.
scorns people because they don't have blonde on blonde or going
Hmm.
out picking albums for them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, all of that's gone, and that
Right.
was always
Right.
just a great visceral experience.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the intention. You
Mm,
you set out to go find something that was
yeah.
meaningful when most people it's just overwhelming on Spotify or
Mm,
anything. You can just cruise around and just listen to
yeah.
it in the background. You're not really, at least it seems like when you put that on, you're not really, um, at least for me, I might put it on just to have it cruise through. Maybe I'll hear something. So I
Mm,
spend a lot of time listening to stuff I don't like,
yeah.
you know? just because it's in the background and I'm not really paying attention. Like one of my favorite records though, right? It's probably like the only one I'm just really love is the latest Deftones album.
I haven't listened to that.
For me, it's. I think I saw a quote from Abe, the drummer, and
Yeah.
he says it's like, what did he say? It's like beauty and power
Mm-hmm.
combined, or something. It was something similar to that. It really is. It's
Mm.
powerful, and I'm more of like I really like a I like great melodies.
Mm-hmm.
I like things that have emotion,
Yeah.
and I do like it too when it's heavy sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
the Deftones are definitely know how to do all those things.
Yeah.
And the great feels just makes my body move. I just love them. But this new one is incredible. I think it won a Grammy last year,
Okay.
or maybe it was 2 years ago, but maybe last year. It's amazing. I just think it's amazing. It's not
I'll
like
check it out.
it's not like fancy guitar riffs. It's all about the
Yeah.
vibe, the heavy
Mm-hmm.
heavy riffs, and
Mm-hmm.
it just sounds amazing. And the feel
Cool.
is amazing.
I'll check it. I
So
will
yeah,
check it out.
yeah, I'll promote them.
Yeah. They need it. Listen, Tim, I will leave you there. It's been
Oh, okay.
very cathartic
Hey, man. Thank you for
sitting
having
here
me. Yeah,
to chat things over. I will definitely try getting these kids to count the in between.
yeah. I think
I'll
it'll
drop you a message
really, really
and
help.
see how they get on.
Yeah, have them
Count
understand
again.
subdivisions and time. Just
Yeah.
dividing that time up. So when it's
Yeah.
not playing, it
You're still
it's
counting.
it's still existing. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
All
All
right, man.
right.
Thank you so
Well,
much. When do you think
thank you so
when do you
much.
think you'll be pushing this out?
Well, do you know what? I will try and put it out next week.
Okay,
I'll,
yeah.
um,
Let me
I'll,
know, and
I'll,
then I can promote it through my
yeah,
stuff.
we'll do.
Thanks for your support on the
No
social
problem.
media, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad
It
that
will.
you're the I think you're the first person that I've really talked to who didn't know what I've done or
Yeah.
anything. So it's interesting
Yeah. I
that
mean,
you saw it, that social media is what got you.
yeah.
So that's a new one for me. So I'm really
Okay.
kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
It's
I
interesting.
mean, I didn't mean to insult you by
No,
saying
no,
that you were
no,
doing,
no. I just think it's
but
interesting that
yeah.
well, my wife's the one who's really guiding me, and she films it, a lot of
Yeah.
it. And,
Okay.
we work on what to say so that it's
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah.
But,
It is. I mean, it is. It's like I said. It's knowledgeable. It's impactful. It's deep as well. You've got whatever you've
right.
44 decades of playing
Yeah.
experience behind you, and
Right.
you see a lot of kids on social media who do something similar. It's like, well, you can't have gigged that much. You're barely out of spots. So what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I will. Yeah, I'll keep checking back in with you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
And thank you
Thank
for
you.
your
I'll look
time. I
for
really do
you
appreciate it.
on the social stuff.
Yes, we'll do. All right,
All
cool.
right, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers. Bye.
you.